Last summer, I took a trip to Eastern Europe, and I ended my trip in Berlin, a place that I had been dying to go to for a long time, since I was in my early 20s when the wall was still up. However, I was a little intimidated to go into this essentially island within a communist area by myself, so I never made it before the wall fell, which I was a little sad about. However, I did make it this summer. It was fascinating. I really loved it there. It was very interesting looking at the time, right now, it's actually difficult to see the difference between East Berlin and West Berlin. The wall is pretty much gone, though there are some remnants, and there's been a lot of renovation and things have been fixed up and changed and all of that, so that you can't really tell the difference between East Berlin and West Berlin. So I did take a bike tour. It was called the Wall Tour, and we did go along from the northern end of Berlin along a lot of the area where the wall had been, and heard a lot of the stories about the development of the wall and, of course, the escapes. That's the famous part about the wall, is all the daring escapes that happened. There was, of course, tunneling. There were several occasions where people managed to tunnel underneath through basements of one house and coming up in Western Berlin. There was also a man who managed to make a hot air balloon and got himself and his wife and a few friends, I think, over to the other side. But there were also some very clever escapes that where they just basically tricked the guards into getting from one side to the other. And I have a story, one of those stories to tell you now. And this is how it goes. A man came from East Berlin, the East Berlin side. He came up to the guard, and there were checkpoints along the way. And there were several checkpoints throughout the city. Checkpoint Charlie is a famous one that you might have heard about. At these checkpoints, they were on boulevards or fairly wide roads, and there would be a neutral part in the middle. So there was the East Berlin side and the neutral space, and then the Western Berlin side. So this man came up. Clearly he's coming up to the guard from the eastern side, and he says to him, I have just found out that my aunt, my favorite aunt, is sick in the hospital, and she is dying. She may only have a few hours, if that, to live, and I really need to see her before she dies. So I've been to the embassy, and they are working on the paperwork. They're going to fax it over here, and please can you go and check to see if the paperwork is there? Here's my passport, and time is of the essence, so please hurry. So the guard says, well, I'm not sure what we can do about this, but I will, I'll go and check and find out, see what's up. Wait here. So the man is standing there, and now he's in the neutral spot. You can't really tell, he's just hanging out there. And another guard comes from around the corner or out of the building or something, and he hasn't seen this man arrive from the eastern side. So he comes up and he says, what's going on? Why are you standing here? He said, and the man says to him, oh, it's okay. The other man is trying to see if he can get the appropriate papers for me, and a clearance for me. See, this is what happened. My aunt is in Eastern Berlin, and she is in the hospital and dying. She only has a few hours to live. And I've just been on the train all night coming from Hamburg, and I stopped at the hotel and only had a few hours of sleep, and now I need to go see her before she dies. Unfortunately, I have left my passport in the hotel, and I was hoping that I wouldn't have to go all the way back, because it did take me almost an hour to get here from the hotel that I'm staying at, and I really, I'm hoping to get to see her before she dies, because that will be several more hours. And the guard says to him, let me understand this. You're coming from West Berlin. You would like us to let you into East Berlin with no paperwork, no passport, and then you would like to come back later, and you want us to allow you to do this. Oh yes, please, if you could please do that. Oh no, we aren't letting anybody through without the proper papers or their passports. So no, that I can't let you through right now. Well, is there anything I can do? What can I do? How can I make this happen? Yes, there's something you can do. You can go right back to your hotel and you get your passport, and then you come back and speak to us and we'll let you through. And so the man walked off into Western Berlin to get his passport. I thought that was very clever.